Welcome to Timeless Tales, and thanks for joining us for another deep dive.
Great to be here. Today we've got something really quite extraordinary.
Yeah, we're plunging into a piece of World War II history, but maybe not like you've heard before. It's a first-hand account from a British POW.
That's right. It's this remarkable story filled with, well, incredible resilience, sheer desperation, but also a real mystery that kind of unfolds over years.
And the source material is very powerful, very personal. We're using excerpts from Arthur Lane's story, contributed to the BBC's WW2 People's War Archives. It's called The Ouija Board at Chungkai Camp.
So our mission really for this deep dive is to unpack Arthur Lane's memory. It's incredibly detailed. We want to pull out these, surprising moments of ingenuity, the stark reality of life under just extreme conditions, and this mystery that just sort of hangs there.
And to really get this story, you have to picture the setting. It's the construction of the Bangkok to Rangoon Railway, the Death Railway.
Yeah, infamous. We're talking horrific conditions, starvation, sickness everywhere, death camps like Thonbazayat, Chungkai. Just surviving day to day was a battle.
Exactly. And Arthur Lane's account actually picks up in the aftermath at Thonbazayat Death Camp, right near the Burma border. He got there after the main railway construction was done.
Right, he was part of this small group, pretty weakened already, sent in to basically clear the place up.
And he doesn't hold back describing it. He calls Thonbazayat a place of degradation, dehumanization, and death. It was built during the speeder period.
That intense rush period when everything was pushed at double speed, often with just brutal force.
The numbers he gives. They're just staggering. 5,000 Allied POWs originally sent there. 3,000 are buried right there in Thonbazayat.
3,000, and only just 21 men from that original group made it home after the war.
And that's not even counting the thousands of Tamil and other Asian workers who died there too, buried nearby.
It's crucial to remember them.
He paints this picture. It's so stark. This lush, colorful jungle full of life, almost beautiful. And right beside it, what he calls the black, damp area of degradation and squalor that the camp left. He talks about hearing men crying out, some so desperate they defy the guards.
Hoping for execution, just to end it.
Yeah, unimaginable. So Lane arrives with this small group, just 20 guys, many sick already, beriberi, dysentery.
And their job was just horrific. Clear the old camp, find somewhere to build new huts, and incinerate the remains, bodies, evidence of what he calls Japanese bestiality.
And Lane, because he was maybe slightly fitter, gets put in charge.
Which sounds like an incredibly dangerous position to be in.
Definitely. He describes the feeling during the clearing, this damp, awful smelling soil, the noise of the jungle, just constant, overwhelming, and then seeing, well, remnants of people protruding from the soil, just eerie.
So incredibly grim. And as they're clearing, they start finding these makeshift grave markers, old wooden crosses, bits of wood, names often just gone, eaten by time, insects.
Right near the edge of the old camp, all overgrown.
Okay, so here's where the story takes that really unexpected turn. Just outside this main grave area, Lane spots something. A rectangular piece of hardwood dangling from a stave.
Wire holding it had rusted through,
Exactly. He gets closer, sees names carved in. Pete T. Metzson, CQMSC Anderson, ASH Justice from the USS Houston.
And below them.
Partially wiped out, but he could make out executed 11-143. He figured there were probably 6 names originally, but only those 3 were readable.
And then the big moment. He turns the board over.
And on the back, immaculately carved, were the remains of a Ouija board, polished. And he recognized it instantly from Chungkai base camp.
Wow. You can just feel the shock in his writing.
Oh, absolutely. He says his eyes misted over. He actually wept. Standing there, holding this thing, thinking of the faces behind the names, feeling like the jungle was watching him. It's this sudden jarring connection, the horror of Thonbazayat, and this bizarre memory from Chungkai.
So that discovery throws us back in time, doesn't it? Back with Lane's memory, over 2 years earlier, to Chungkai base camp, where this board came from.
Exactly. Enter CQMS Con Anderson. He's the one who made it. Lane says he scrounged a bit of an oak bed headboard back in Singapore.
Just amazing what they could find.
Yeah, and used really basic tools, a bit of wire, a penknife to carve everything. Letters, zodiac signs, numbers, decorative bits. polished it with boot polish and something called Twilang sap,
And the planchette, the bit that moves.
an upturned Bovril bottle with biblical signs painted on it.
But Lane is really clear about why Khan made it, isn't he?
Yes, very clear. He insists that it wasn't about spiritualism. Not really, not the occult. It was just something to do in his leisure time, something to create an interest, to take the men's minds off their daily predicament.
And that predicament, even at Chungkai, was still awful. Not a Speedo camp, but harsh. A village taken over, bamboo huts, 250 men crammed in each.
Sickness everywhere, bed bugs, lice. Lane himself had crazy duties. Night cook, bugler, crematorium assistant. Barely slept. He even learned some Japanese and Korean from the guards.
Amidst all that, these Ouija board sessions became, well, popular.
Hugely popular. Men would crowd around G-Hut near the hospital cookhouse just to watch, to listen.
Asking those questions born of sheer desperation, right? Who will win the war? When will it end?
Always about hope. Lane calls it a form of relief. He says the only straw to which they could cling was hope. That phrase, the only straw. Really powerful.
Yeah. And of course, big gatherings like that, they get noticed.
Naturally. The Japanese guards sent a couple of guys to check it out. Konimitsu, known as YM, weird backstory about a San Francisco YMCA. And Ushigawa, big muscular guy, ape-like grin, Lane says, and bizarrely claimed to be a devout Roman Catholic, though his actions often didn't match up.
So Lane, maybe spotting an angle, suggests they watch a session.
Right, during their rest time. And their reaction, just open-mouthed astonishment, watching that bottle move.
They were hooked.
Totally. YM asks, when will the war end? Board says, November 1943.
Okay.
Ushigawa asks about his family in Tokyo. Board says, there is good news on the way which will make you very happy.
So afterwards, the guards are talking amongst themselves. Is it real? Is it a trick?
Exactly. And this sparks an idea, especially for Khan. They see a chance, maybe not just for, financial reward, but maybe even 1 or 2 days of freedom.
That classic phrase Lane uses, necessity is the mother of invention.
It really applied there. And you have to remember the skills these prisoners had. Jewelers, chemists, metal workers.
Right, using scrap brass, copper, colored glass, petrol cans.
Gold leaf from temples, sometimes even real stones from mines nearby. They were already making fake stuff, rings, lighters. Others were making fake medicines, just chalk and curry powder.
So Khan gets these guys involved. The plan starts simple. Just subtly drop the word treasure during the Ouija sessions.
Yeah, not push it, just enough to whet the guard's appetite, as Lane puts it, plant the seed.
Meanwhile, the monsoons hit, new work orders. 10 days straight work for basically nothing, 10 cents. But then, a full day's rest. A Yasme day.
Which felt like manna from heaven to them, a whole day off.
And the guards, Ushigawa and YM especially, are keen for another session. They ask about the Yasme day. Ushigawa says he has important news.
Right, so Yasme Day comes, big crowd gathers, Ushigawa turns up, gives out cigarettes.
The good sign.
Definitely. And announces the spirit guide was right. His sister back in Tokyo just had a baby boy. News got through. For Ushigawa, this was it. Proof.
So the belief is solidifying, for him at least.
Absolutely. And at this session, a new spirit guide gets introduced through the board. Pramodi Kachanal. Supposedly a dead Siamese policeman, jeweler, moneylender from Kanchanaburi.
Died suddenly, didn't tell anyone where his fortune was hidden.
Exactly. This whole story unfolds via the board. Apparently so well, it even surprised some of the prisoners who weren't fully in on the scam yet.
Still no mention of treasure from their side, though.
Nope. They hold back. The guards leave eventually. Ushigawa talks privately to Khan. The bait, it seems, was taken. Sessions stop for a bit then. Let the guards stew on it. Let the prisoners prep the treasure.
And the tension must have been building. So, next session, the prisoners still don't mention treasure.
Right. They wait. And Ushigawa bites. He corners Lane in the cookhouse, asks his opinion on the spirit guide. Is it real?
And Lane, who didn't believe any of it himself.
He cleverly deflects. Tells Ushigawa to ask his own kami, his own god, for guidance. Very smart move.
So the sessions continue, and now and then someone in the audience would offer some little anecdote, proof the spirits were right about something minor, just reinforcing the guard's belief.
Keeping the illusion going, but the real key part of the plan comes next.
The wood collecting party.
Exactly. Khan and 3 mates get assigned to a wood party, specifically under Ushigawa's supervision. This was vital. It meant getting out of the camp during work hours.
Greater freedom, Lane calls it. They could actually buy stuff, food, cigarettes, even Thai whiskey from local places.
Yeah. And while the main party collected bamboo, Khan and the guards would supposedly search areas the spirit guide mentioned. But, the guards started getting twitchy. They wanted the treasure, not just jungle picnics.
So it was time. Time to find it.
They set it up perfectly. They maneuvered a guard who wasn't in on the scam into the right area.
And then?
Konomitsu YM accidentally stumbles on it. Near some old temple ruins, a small canvas satchel.
Containing.
Jewelry! Looked like gold rings, brooches, medallions, coins.
Okay, so they quickly send the rest of the wood party back to camp.
Yep. Ushigawa, YM, and Khan head back to G-Hut, clear everyone out, empty the bag onto the table. Ushigawa takes charge, says he'll take it to a black market guy in Kanchanaburi.
And the split.
75% for the guards, 25% for Khan and his crew.
That fake jewelry must have been convincing.
Apparently incredibly well made. Looked like the real thing, Lane says. Ronson lighters, swan pens, brooches with fake gems. Rings even had fake British hallmarks stamped on them. The black marketeer apparently snapped it up.
And Khan's share.
Came to 500 baht, which Lane reckons was about 20 pounds then. A huge amount for starving prisoners. A considerable sum.
But you can imagine the fear afterwards. What if they find out?
Oh yeah, massive anxiety among some of the prisoners involved. But Khan, he thought it through. His logic was the Thai locals wouldn't snitch to the Japanese or Koreans, and the Korean guards themselves. They'd never admit being duped. Huge loss of face. Plus, they could face execution for dealing with prisoners like that, so they wouldn't dare ask for the money back or reveal the scam.
Makes sense. In a grim way.
Any leftover worries kind of vanished quickly anyway. G Battalion got sudden orders. Move out! San Cray. That Japanese Speedo urgency again.
And Khan apparently got one last message from his spirit guide.
Yeah, supposedly saying they were starting a journey to their true destiny. Lane wishes them well as they leave, and he remembers them departing, smiling.
Which links us right back to Arthur Lane. Years later, standing in the Thanbazayat clearing, holding that discovered Ouija board grave marker, remembering this whole unbelievable scam, remembering those men leaving, smiling.
Such a powerful image. He scribbled notes on his precious toilet paper list, vowing to find the relatives of those executed men if he ever got out.
And then, while they're still clearing that grave area, another guy finds something else.
Yes, near the same grave. A small canvas bag. Lane recognized it immediately by its tassels, the same bag used in the treasure scam.
And inside.
Jewelry. Lane was sure it was part of Khan's share, hidden away.
Wow. And what did they do with it?
It's quite moving, actually. Lane wrote down the names of the men he knew were buried right there, put the list and the bag of jewelry in a small hole they dug, covered it with a rock. Then they cleaned the headboard marker and put it back properly. Lane reflects on praying for them, knowing it was probably futile.
So, fast forward. Post-war. Lane survives, gets back to England. He gives his list of names to the War Graves Commission.
And he eventually learns the fate of the 6 men from the board. Executed, November 1943, attempted escape. He also finds out what happened to Ushigawa and YM.
Guards.
Also executed. For assisting prisoners of war to escape, presumably linked to the escape attempt of the others.
Good grief. The irony is just staggering. And that date on the board, 11/1/43. Lane makes a point about that, doesn't he?
He does. He notes that cholera was absolutely raging in November 43, like 50 deaths a day sometimes. But the official records for November 1st, only 6 burials listed.
The 6 executed men.
Exactly. The date on the board matches their execution date perfectly.
But Lane's search didn't stop there, did it? He went back.
Multiple times, returned to Thailand, talked to locals in Kanchanaburi, and they told him this other story, adding another layer of weirdness.
What was that?
About a wealthy local businessman who died suddenly, no will, location of his wealth unknown, and the day he died, November 1st, but 1942.
1942. The year the prisoners arrived for the bridge work.
Precisely. And locals still talked about his ghost roaming the jungle, looking for his lost fortune.
So you got this echo. 11/1/43 on the execution board found at the grave, and this local legend about a sudden death and lost fortune on 11/1/42. Eerie.
Very eerie. And today, those graves are still there in Thanbazayat Cemetery. Plot B6, row S, graves 12 to 17, side by side.
And Arthur Lane, after living through it all, researching it, going back, he's still left asking, wasn't he, about the whole thing? Was it all a sad dream?
It really makes you think. What's so powerful about Lane's account is it's so much more than just a war story, isn't it? It's this profound look at human behavior under, well, unimaginable pressure.
Absolutely. You see this incredible capacity for hope, even when it seems impossible.
And that dark humor in the deception, the scam itself.
Oh.
The power of belief, too, whether it was real belief or just, strategically pretended belief.
All wrapped up in tragedy and this lingering mystery. It makes you consider how people find ways to act, to resist, even when they seem totally powerless.
Using whatever's available, even a Ouija board made from scraps. And how objects like that board just soak up meaning, carry memories, hold these unanswered questions across time and space.
So why should this story matter to you listening now?
Well, I think these personal stories, they bring history alive in a way that, official documents often just can't. It challenges us to think about the extraordinary things ordinary people endure and the extraordinary things they do to survive.
And the power of a story itself, even one like this, full of loss and uncertainty, those strange date coincidences, the bag reappearing.
Exactly. It's just a potent reminder that behind the big historical events, there are countless individual lives. And some of those stories are as strange, as complex, and as compelling as this one. A Ouija board, a desperate scam, ghost stories, tragic fates, all tangled together.
Arthur Lane's story really leaves you with that sense of the complex, messy reality of that time. Human actions cruel, clever, desperate, all mix up with chance. Maybe coincidence.
Yeah.
Maybe something else entirely, like that connection between the execution date and the local legend.
Yeah. It is truly inexplicable in some ways.
It really makes you pause and think. What about the forgotten objects in our own histories? Maybe in your family or your local area? A strange note in a diary, maybe? Or a faded photo, or just some odd handmade thing stuck in a drawer?
Mm-hmm.
What stories might they hold? Could they be keys to some deeper, untold narrative that changes how we see the past? What might we find if we just looked a bit closer at these physical choices, these remnants? What hidden truths or lingering mysteries might surface?
It's a fascinating thought. Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive into Arthur Lane's really incredible account.
Yeah, we really appreciate you exploring this strange, haunting story with us. We'll catch you next time for another deep dive.